Nike doesn't seem to be sending the big bubbles back to the archives anytime soon. So far this year, we've obviously seen the OG colorway, the Kids of Immigrant collaboration, as well as the Blue Safari colorway, probably missing one or two in there. And on September 9th, we have another one coming. Air Max 1 86 Big Bubble Dark Obsidian. Now right off the bat, I think this colorway is clean, it's nice. It's not the best, I don't love it. I don't think it's good as the OGs, but it's nice. Very standard and very wearable colors. Now this shoe is releasing on September 9th for $150 in the United States. And if you didn't know, the original Air Max 1s that released in 1986, it came with this larger bubble, this larger Nike Air unit. But they quickly found out, especially in cold weather, that the midsole would tend to crack around this Nike Air unit. So they had to quickly retool the tech specs, and in 1987 they came out with the revised Air Max 1, which is the Air Max 1 that you all know and are familiar with nowadays. Now according to Nike.com, in order to recreate the big bubbles, they used one of the original 300,000 pairs that was produced. They used CT scans of an original pair to recreate the shape and the look and the feel of the Air Max 1 big bubble as close to the originals as possible, and this is the result. Obviously, I don't have a pair of 1986 big bubbles. I wasn't even born back then, so I can't compare side by side, but I'll take Nike's word for it. Now this colorway, the Obsidian colorway on the Air Max 1, actually appeared originally in 1988, and then in 2013 and 2017 they made comebacks. So this shoe uses the old original look of the Air Max 1 with an old kind of retro colorway, so it's like retro on retro, if that makes sense. Now quick history lesson, the Air Max 1 was designed by Tinker Hatfield, a legendary designer. He designed a ton of the Air Jordans, the Jordan 3s, the Jordan 4s, just the list goes on. But he also designed this shoe, and he was inspired by the Centre Pompidou, which is a building in France. And that building, you can actually see right through it. So he decided, why not actually showcase the Nike Air unit? Why not let people see it? At the time, the Nike Air was still relatively new, so they thought, let's just make it visible, let people see it. In the upper sole of the shoe, it's pretty standard for an Air Max 1, a mesh-based layer with suede overlays. And the suede on the shoe, super synthetic, you can definitely tell. Does not feel premium. I should have assumed that it didn't come with premium materials. Usually for Air Max 1s with better materials, it'll be an Air Max 1 Premium with a price point of $160, so slightly more expensive than this shoe. So I should have expected it, but still disappointed to feel it in hand. And then on the tongue of the shoe, you see Nike branding. So it says Nike with the words Air Max underneath. And you also see that university red in the insole, as well as the booty of the shoe. Everyone's favorite Nike Air branding on the booty. Now one cool thing about the big bubbles is it prints your size on the ankle collar. So you can see I have a size 10. So if you ever need to confirm whether or not Nike sent the correct size to you, just look at the ankle collar. Now the MX1 Big Bubble comes with a polyurethane midsole, obviously with the visible larger Nike Air unit on the heel. And the midsole of the Big Bubbles is slightly different than the modern day MX1s. So you see this line that meets at the Nike Air unit. That's slightly different to what you see on a modern day MX1. And of course the very iconic rubber waffle outsole, that hasn't changed, so I'm assuming back in 1986, the outsole of the Big Bubbles was exactly the same as it is today. Now this shoe doesn't come with any extra laces. If I had to choose, I think that University Red would be pretty nice on the shoe, would give it an extra pop. So I'm kind of bummed they didn't give us that option. However, the default white laces, it's not a bad choice. In the box of the shoe, it's a standard Big Bubble box, so it comes in this kind of pre-aged, distressed aesthetic with a see-through Nike in the middle. I like how this box looks. My favorite thing is on the side, you can see they made use of the Big Bubble, so that Nike Air unit on the side of the box. Love it. Now moving on to size and comfort, I'm a size 9.5 true to size. I do have wide feet. For MX1s, I generally go up half a size. I find that the MX1 silhouette is slightly more on the narrow side, so I have gone true to size for MX1s before. And generally, even though it's not to the point where it's like so uncomfortable I can't wear it, I feel like it's a bit too tight around the toe box, around where the arch is. Now there is slightly a bit of wiggle room lengthwise when I do go up half a size, but generally I find that works best for my wide feet. If you don't have wide feet, I do recommend just staying true to size. Now in terms of comfort, I always found the MX1 to be a pretty comfortable shoe, especially if you consider this shoe coming out in the late 80s. You don't feel like super close to the ground. That is more of a feature for basketball shoes. But for everyday walking, this is a comfortable shoe. The ankle collar padding is on the slightly kind of thinner side. The tongue padding also slightly on the thinner side. I do prefer shoes that have like more padding around those areas and be more snug to my feet. That's why I love the Jordan 5s, the Jordan 2 in terms of comfort. So that's my only nitpick, but honestly, it's not so thin where it like digs into your ankles or it's uncomfortable. And in terms of weight, the MX1 is a pretty light shoe, I think. You don't really feel like it's a burden on your feet, and if you do, you can't be skipping leg days. And that brings the total sole score to 16 out of 25. Pretty average score compared to other general releases. In terms of colorway, I think this is a very simple and clean colorway. This is like right up my alley. Dark obsidian color with hints of red, obviously the very standard gray mid panel on the MX1. It goes very well. I think it's a very simple colorway, it's clean, it's nice, nothing too out there, nothing too unique, but it works. Material wise, like I said before, that synthetic suede, you can definitely tell, it doesn't feel nice, it doesn't feel premium, don't love it. The mesh, I generally don't like mesh shoes, which I know for most MX1s it comes with a mesh base layer. But in a vacuum, I don't love mesh, just don't like how dust looks and collects around that material. Overall, the materials, I think there's some room for improvement. In terms of comfort, like I said before, the MX1, especially considering its age, it's a pretty comfortable shoe. If someone told me I had to wear the MX1 for like a whole week, every day, and that was the only shoe I could use and survive on, I'd totally be fine with it. It wouldn't be my first choice, but it definitely wouldn't be my last. In terms of versatility, I think the MX1 silhouette is super versatile. You can wear it casually, maybe not on like formal occasions, but if you really wanted to, I think it works. I think it looks nice. It's a very timeless and classic silhouette. And in terms of the colorway, it's a super versatile colorway. God, it's so hot, man. Jeez. It's dark blue, red, gray, and white. That goes with so many different things. In terms of storytelling, there's not really much of a story to tell. I do like how the big bubbles come with like a special big bubble box, kind of vintage, kind of old looking aesthetic to it. So I like that, but in terms of storytelling, not much of a story to tell. It's just a general release. I'm not entirely sure if there's going to be another big bubble colorway before the end of the year, but if there isn't, I think 2023 was a pretty good year for the big bubbles. Most of the colorways I've actually really liked. The OG colorway, the Kids of Immigrant collaboration, all 4 pairs as part of that collection I like. Now the Blue Safari, that might be the only one that I'm not a huge fan of, but even that's pretty nice. And so is this shoe. Don't absolutely love it, but still a nice looking shoe. So that's it. Thanks for watching Sole Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Air Max 1 86 Big Bubble Dark Obsidian. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.